From the book of Genesis. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. A cubit, by the way, is the length of the forearm from the tip of the elbow to the tip of the longest finger, standardized to 1.5 feet. Therefore, the floodwaters described by the Bible covered the mountains to a total of 22.5 feet. Most people have heard the tale of the great flood of the Bible, sent by God to wash away the wickedness on the earth, with the exception of Noah and his family. The accompanying account of the ark created by Noah to house his family and 2 of every animal is equally familiar. For centuries, scientists have been searching for a scientific explanation for the deluge. One of the more intriguing hypotheses, at least for those of us who are astronomers or astronomy enthusiasts, is the notion that the flood was caused by a passing comet. The first person to promote this idea was none other than Sir Edmond Halley, of the eponymous comet, who addressed the Royal Society in 1694. He proposed that, quote, the shock of a comet or other transient body as an expedient to change instantly the pole and diurnal rotation of the globe, at that time only aiming to show how the axis of the earth being changed would occasion the sea to recede from those parts toward which the poles did approach, and to increase upon and overflow those parts wherefrom the poles were departed. But at that time I did not consider the great agitation such a shock must necessarily occasion in the sea, insufficient to answer for all those strange appearances of heaping vast quantities of earth and high cliffs upon beds of shells, which once were the bottom of the sea. Halley makes the case here that the gravitational pull of a passing comet could cause flooding. Halley's hypothesis was viewed as both scientifically and theologically reckless by many in the Royal Society, and he was censored for his speech. His work was followed a few years later by William Whiston, a protege of none other than Sir Isaac Newton, who agreed with the effects of the gravitational pull of the comet, causing immense tides, and adding that the head and tail of the comet, by then known to be comprised of ice, must have deposited massive quantities of water upon the earth. Speaking of the Great Flood, Whiston wrote, quote, this vast quantity of waters was not derived from the earth or seas, as rains constantly now are, but from other, superior and celestial origin. Additionally, Whiston proposed that the earth's crust must have cracked from the pull of the passing comet, allowing water to come up from its depths. Interestingly, opposite the title page of Whiston's book, A New Theory of the Earth, displays a diagram labeled Sistema Solare, the solar system, that includes the orbit of a comet. If we compare that diagram to a model of the orbit of Halley's comet, we see a distinct overlap. Could it have been Halley's comet that Whiston believed to be responsible for the great flood of the Bible? 100 years later, Pierre Simon, the Marquis de Laplace, expressed his agreement with Halley and Whiston. I have included Laplace's original words in French, but will not attempt to read it with my A2 level French so as not to offend our Francophone viewers. In this writing, Laplace states that, quote, it is easy to represent the effect of such a shock upon the earth. The axis and motion of rotation changed, the waters abandoning their ancient position to precipitate themselves towards the new equator. The greater part of men and animals drowned in a universal deluge, or destroyed by the violence of the shock given to the terrestrial globe. Whole species destroyed, all the monuments of human industry reversed. Such are the disasters which a shock of a comet would produce. Nearly 100 years after Laplace, in 1883, Minnesota Congressman Ignatius L. Donnelly would build on this work again, adding in with a flare a catastrophic fire and climate change to the aforementioned flood. While it would be easy to joke about dramatic politicians, we will avoid that topic and allow the viewer to insert their own humorous meme. So, what do you think? Is it possible that the Great Flood described in the Bible could have been caused by a passing comet? Please leave a comment below. We will take this moment to remind our viewers that we are an academic community, so please engage respectfully. As always, we're looking forward to reading your thoughts on this topic. Catch you next time on Hidden in the Stars.